Welcome back to ShopDog-Garage. It's a 67 Camaro video, as you can see. Sorry, it's been a little busy this week. You know, people that pay my bills keep wanting me to actually work and stuff. So, we gotta get back into the swing of things. I got a few hours today. I lost a little time today because it turns out one of the chemicals we're using is obsolete. So, our reducer is DT870. We use it in the clear, we use it in the paint, which I've ordered. We use it pretty much to thin anything, including the MK. And it's obsolete. So, I've been on a scramble, and I drove to Cambridge and was able to score 3 gallons. So that should be all we need, but I've got to beat on 1 more gallon just to make sure. So, unfortunately, when I checked with PPG, they're like, yeah, you can use 1575. That's fine. But, you know, he wouldn't guarantee that there wouldn't be an issue if you use those together. And we've already used about that much 870 and other materials. So let's not even monkey with it. It's still available. Let's buy it. Let's just make this all go as easy as we can. You know, this is out of my world. Now, I do have XS330 for my prep, but the other one I'm going to have to buy yet is the water-based one for cleaning out water-based solvents as well. I don't need it yet. I still should have enough 401. I did pick up the DP48, which is basically the same thing as DP90, which the cans are gone because Harlan keeps the old cans. Remember, we ran out of that. In fact, we had to borrow a little of that from Harlan. But that's black. This is white. So this is what we're going to use to make our sealer. So just before actual paint goes on, that will get mixed and reduced, which is why we need more reducer. And that's what's going to be the final seal before the paint hits. So we spray that, then we spray the paint, and then I'm not sure how long we got to wait, and then we spray the clear. So, I don't know how all this door jamming and all that stuff works. I know my focus right now is getting these doors prepped. I can get some more DP on those, which conveniently, I've got the 48 and, or not DP, I'm sorry, K36, which I've got only that much missing out of this can, so I got plenty of that. So, we'll get that because, remember, things don't like to stick to paint. Oh god, I got so much sanding to do. The other thing is I've got a little body work to do. I know I pointed this out before, but maybe it shows up really well now with the way the light is. But there's a dent here and a bunch of little dings here. And I don't know if I did that or if it came that way. It doesn't matter. I gotta fill them. So I'm gonna fill those and then build that back up. Sand it down. I'm trying to remember if there's any other real complicated body work. I think I wouldn't mind, like, see this little spot here? I should probably fill that. Same with right here. I should probably fill that just to make it smoother for the future. Yeah, same here and here. Remember, we had to rebuild all of these. We unfolded all of this and cut it and pounded it and made all that work. So, and then I should backfill here. You can see we used filler to build that out, or weld and then filler. Don't actually remember. It's been a while. I've also got, like right here, that's a drip hole that will eventually get drilled back out when I'm finally ready. And right here, I've got a little filling here, and then I've got to re-drill that drip hole as well. So I don't need a ton of filler. So I think we should get all that prepped. In fact, maybe that's my goal today, is get that hardening up. So I'll get the areas that need filler cleaned, sanded, prepped, get some filler mixed, get that down. I don't think I needed any on the top edge of the door, but I definitely will verify that. Yeah, my hands aren't washed yet. That's why I'm not touching anything. It's like, I know it's covered with a piece of rubber, but I could probably feather that in a little bit. Same right there. And then, yeah, if I've already got filler out, I would probably hit that little pinhole. And I don't think there was anything on this end. So, and if I'm rambling, part of that is me trying to remind myself what I should be doing. It's been a little while. Yeah, I could probably go ahead and do a little here. I realize that those aren't even visible when the car's assembled, but if you're doing the job, you might as well do the best you can. Pretty happy with valence and cowl. Obviously, I've got a little bit of sanding to do on both, you know, just from overspray areas and edges. But yeah, look how nice that is. The downside here is, oh no, I'm gonna have to sand. So I'm probably gonna have to spray a little more in here and get in there with my sandpaper on a stick and clean all that up. That's all got to be scuffed before it can be painted. So that'll be fun. And valence. Yeah, see, I mean, it doesn't mean anything, but I could probably go ahead and feather that. That'll sand out. I did build this pretty heavy. Yeah, I should probably see if that'll even just sand out. I put a lot of K36 on here because even though it doesn't need to be painted, I'm painting this, and you can see the inside is just terrible. Although I may ask if there's any benefit to me leaving it all stipply. I doubt it though. Harlan's pretty kind of big on smooth. He likes smooth. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at. Oh, yeah. And I don't know if I mentioned it, but while I was digging these guys out that need cleaned up, these are those ones in the upper corner up there, I remembered we hadn't painted the glove box door yet. So, gonna need that on hand. These just need a little sand down. Yeah, that's blood. That's me. Happens. So, I gotta clean that off. But, the other thing is at some point I've got to get those all ready to be painted. The semi-gloss, you know, it'll look like this. You know, like the top of the doors and the glove box door and those two pieces. So I'm going to paint all of those at once so they will all be exactly the same. It's not going to be this week, but, you know, it's coming pretty soon. So lot to do, been a little busy, so we'll get there. And the reason I saved the masking when I peeled it off the hood was so that I could put it back on. Obviously still had to use more tape, but was able to save the time and effort to make that shape again. So that'll help. Just kind of sorting things out. I'm trying to get everything that's going to need filler in one area so that I can just do it all, get it all prepped, get it all clean, get the filler mixed, and get it going. So we're slowly getting there. I think I'm going to wind up working right in here, so I'm just kind of moving things around. So yeah, things are going. There's very little left in that can. I mean, maybe a scrape or two. But we've got, well, that's what happens when it's almost hard and I grab it with my finger. Filled that in. I don't know why. Just did. So I did decide I'm going to fill that. Did the same thing over here. And obviously you go wide and you sand it off. This, in fact, I wound up powdering and sanding this to get a good feel for the holes. So I think I've got them all. There weren't really any on this side that I was worried about, so I didn't do that side. Remember, did all that welding here, and I had said I was going to take care of that, as well as a little bit more smoothing here. And remember, we rebuilt this whole edge on the inside here, so I had all these spot welds. Figured I better fill those in, keep moisture out. So same thing here. Remember, we rebuilt all that. Because aftermarket garbage, my good friends at Goodmark, they can't build anything worth buying. So that's what we did. Now we let that get hard, and then we start sanding. Okay, my very first rough pass, you know, just making things not peaky. that took a little while. I've gone over everything. It was really bad over here. Remember, I had to goop it up to fill in all those welds. So we've got all the peaks knocked down. I think I'm going to wind up doing another vacuum down and wipe. And then we're going to pick what panel is first and smooth the panel. Because that's the way this is going to go. I'm trying to decide if I just start with the door shells or do I start with this deck lid. I don't know. It's been a long day already, and I know I've only got like 3 minutes of video. Okay, it has actually been a few days. Some other things came up, including what I'm calling Waspmageddon, in which a giant colony of wasps got evicted from my roof, which kind of took up most of my Sunday. It is Tuesday night, and I have decided that the best way to tackle this is about an hour and a half at a time. I get so tired of the sanding, it's monotonous. So we'll listen to a little bit of something on the YouTubes up there and get to sanding. But I think I'm going to start with the door panels. That's where we're starting. And that is another hour and a half right there. Everything's a lot smoother. Still working on getting it, but I've got most of this down to 320 dry. You can see there's some areas. Now, do I have to do this? No, but we're doing it. So you can see I'm at 600 on this portion here, and you can still see there's a little bit here and back here. And on this door, that one's actually pretty good. I got a little bit more right in here. And yes, a piece of rubber goes there. I get that. But let's make it look nice. So, yeah, these are the tools I've been using to keep vacuuming them off. I've got a piece of 320, another 320. Here's some 320 on a block. All the rest of these are 600. So, and you can see like this one's real bendy. That one is absolutely hard as a board. So, different amount of resistance, because I don't want to cut any shapes into that. I want it to still be just the metal deciding it. So we'll be back probably lunch tomorrow. I figured I had it somewhere. Well, look at that. It's in a video, but that shows that a tiny bit of the paint was showing before. We're not going to do that this time. So before it came around like this on the black, we're going to just take and make all of this the black, because then you won't notice it when the weather strip's on. I think that actually is quite distracting. So I figured I had that somewhere. But yeah, that's back when the car was red. That's a while ago. So still kind of working right here. But you can see we're just going to bring that all the way back in here. And that should work pretty slick. Okay, so I have decided we're going to paint it to that line. I've got to tape this one off yet. So I'll get that one taped off. And then, yeah, normally on the black it would only be up here. I'm doing it anywhere down to the weather strip. I honestly don't know that anyone but me would even notice it, unless you're getting really, really picky, because obviously everything out here is going to be body color. But remember, the weather strip's right there, and I just didn't really want a tiny little sliver of blue showing. So if we go to, now this is a deluxe door 68, so the weather strip doesn't lay the same because it's also a convertible, so it's a little bit different, but it's going to show the concept here. So if we come here, in fact, you can see I was already looking. So this top piece, obviously, on the molding is different. So it's not exactly the same as that. But you can see this little sliver here? I want that to stay black. So, and then this part will be the blue. Oh, got a phone call. Okay, here you can see where the black just kind of fogs away. So that's not what we're going to do. So where that weather strip falls, that's all going to be black, but everything on the other side of the weather strip is going to be body color. Like I said, I think it'll trick people's eye. You won't notice, and honestly, they're going to look better, especially with the light colors we're going with. But yeah, it's taking a little scrubbing to find that picture. But that's kind of what we're trying to hide. You can see, that's it. It's just kind of a mask off and paint. And when this car was painted, whoever painted it the red, that's what they did. They just kind of did a half tape off and went down there. We're going to do anything that could be seen from inside the car, we're doing black. So that'll look a lot nicer going across. And like I said, I still got to do those two pieces that go in the corner. But that kind of shows how that will sit. And that is another hour of sanding, working on all of that, so it's getting a lot smoother. It's hard to do in here. There's like a dimple where they push that in, and it's weird. So, I don't know. We're working on it. But I think my goal tomorrow, which is Saturday, is to finish sanding everything that needs to be the black and cleaning up the couple things that, these two guys here, they're going to need to be primed. So that's a lofty goal. I don't know how long this video is getting, but we'll find out. Well, it is the next day, and I've already looked, and the video is already 16 minutes long, so this will be the closeout today. Whatever I get done today is the end of the video. I am moving stuff that isn't getting black, just so I can kind of focus on what I need to focus on. So these are going to move out of here. Honestly, those, because they're so far back, that they can just stay back there. In fact, those probably are going back there because I need to get the car down. I've got to sand all of that plus the back or the bit in the back. I'm pretty happy with the doors now. And I just ran some 600 over this to see how rough it was. And you can see, hopefully you can see all of that. So I am going to have to sand that down. That's got quite a bit of roughness. So let's get this done. Okay, I got the car down, getting ready to climb in here and start sanding. This is K36 from quite some time ago, like almost 2 years ago. And it's still rough as sandpaper. See, smooth here, rough here. So I'll get in there and we'll start sanding. Got to be done because all of this obviously gets to be the black. And I think when we spray it, we're going to spray it down to at least here. Obviously a pinch molding goes there and all that gets hidden, but yeah, as you can see, it was never even painted before, just whatever's fogged. So we'll get it. Okay, I just got done with 320. We're going to move over, probably just going to go straight to 600 to be fair. It's time consuming in here. It's not as comfortable as you'd think, but I do have my knee pads on. So hopefully you can see how much smoother all of that's getting. I know it's hard to see that stuff on the camera. So just trust me, it's way smoother than it was. And now we're going to do it again with much finer paper. And with that, I gotta start figuring out how I'm taping this off. Good thing I got a lot of that plastic. I'm gonna have to do something like this. I just don't see any other real solution. I do not want paint everywhere. So let me start thinking how I'm going to tape it off. But you can see it looks a lot better. So honestly, it's going to look better than it ever has since I've owned the car. Yeah, slowly getting things cleaned up. And yeah, maybe sometime real soon I can do the DP48, which buys me 1 week before I have to put the paint on. So let's think on that. One thing that's nice, the DP48 is white, so it'll look nice, bright, easy to see any issues. So let's get to running some plastic. Okay, I'm getting there. So that's one of the things nice about the plastic is you can cover a lot of ground real quick. So I'm still going to come in and do one more tape line there because we're going to, that's where the glue for the window is. So I don't know where I want to tape that yet. I'll look and see on the old one, but I think it's going to be hidden no matter what. So I'm not too worried about a little overspray going up high. Don't care. What I care about is, getting on anything that's going to be color. So working on that. This looks like it'll work pretty good, I think. We'll definitely still play. What I'll do is I'll hook up the air to a gun, just open it wide open and just spray all over, and wherever it wants to lift, I'll tape that down. That'll tell me the story. Well, I think I'm ready for DP48. And with that, I'm going to close this video out. I put the DP48 on there. It's been about 20 minutes. I think I've got most of the fog cleared up. I'm hoping I don't have too many runs, but remember I had 2 pieces hung there? Yeah, I blew those clean off. I did not have my hooks on as well as I thought. So those are going to have to be completely sanded down and tried again. Hopefully I did a good job. We'll find out. If not, well, it's part of the learning. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.